Yeah, sure. Do you want me to test my presentation? I see you are presenting right now. Are you able to see my screen? Okay, sorry.
Mm, Yeah, ma'am, we can proceed.
I'm not. I'm not able to present for some reason. Uh,
Sir, you'll have to change the slide one by one. It will not be in the presentation mode, I guess so.
okay, it won't be in the presentation mode.
Yeah, I think you'll have to take slide after one by one.
Let me check. Trying to go full screen because I have my notes in here. I can do something else.
Yeah, let's start.
Okay.
Very good evening to all. I'm Assistant Professor Rita Kadam from the Department of CSE IDS, Pimpri Chinchwad University. Warmly welcome you all to day 5 and the closing ceremony of our webinar series on Idea to Deployment AI Project Bootcamp. Over the past 4 days, we had wonderful learning sessions with experts who give who gave us insights into how ideas can be turned into successful projects. Today is very special day, and it is the final day of this bootcamp series, and we are happy to have with us another inspiring guest speaker. Before we begin with the talk, it is my honor to invite our respected uh, head of this department, Dr. Sagar Pandey sir, to guide us with his words. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, very good evening to all. I hope you all are well and fine. So, I would like to thank Mr. Saishyam sir for giving his valuable time. Today's topic is very interesting. That is human-computer interaction and UX, that is user experience. Definitely, this topic will guide student how they can work and explore the area of HCI. And now this wonderful series was organized by CSE Artificial Intelligence and Data Science Department along with CSE AI and ML Department. I will really appreciate the efforts taken by both the coordinators, Ms. Rita Kadam ma'am and Tanuja Pandey ma'am, such kind of series are really very motivational for the students because it enlighten them about the topics which are beyond the syllabus. So I really appreciate the efforts taken by them. Thank you, ma'am, for organizing. Looking forward to for more such series. Uh, I really welcome and thank the today's guest for giving us your valuable time, sir. Thank you so much. Welcome to the boot camp. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words. Actually, now it is my pleasure to introduce today's distinguished guest speaker, Mr. Saishyam Akurke, a senior UX researcher with more than 6 years of experience in creating user-centered solutions and improving product experiences. He has worked with leading companies like SciPlay, FanDuel, IDT Corporation, where he partnered with design, product, engineering teams to make technology easier and more engaging for users. Currently, he is lead UX researcher at SciPlay at Austin, Texas, where he has built and scaled their UX research function from the scratch. His work has helped improve customer satisfaction, product usability, and overall engagement. Mr. Akurke has expertise in user research, surveys, A/B testing, journey mapping, AI integrated research tools. His research not only improved player user experiences but also increased market share and reduced cost for organizations. We are honored to have with him with us today on the closing day of our series. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Saishyam Akurke. Sir, we request you to kindly address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Rita. And thank you so much for all the faculty members as well. First, let me start by introducing myself. I'm Saishyam, and I have, going back to my academic background a little bit, I have mechanical engineering bachelor's. I have a master's in industrial engineering with a focus in human-computer interaction, as well as I have a thesis in human-computer interaction, and I have published international conference papers for human-computer interaction. And over the past few years, I worked in telecom, finance, startups, sports, as well as gaming, where I am right now. Today's topic is something that you might have heard a little bit here and there, and something that you might have not heard before that, which is the science behind it, UX. We all hear about what's UX and what user experience is. When someone uses an app and it collapses, or something doesn't go right, or something doesn't go as we want, we say, oh, the UX is bad. But what's the science behind it? And how are we looking into that at big orgs, and how important it is in different aspects of our lives, and to improve user experience to make it better for humans all around the world. So thanks for joining today. We are going to talk about something unique, which is the invisible science behind how we interact with technology. Every time you open your favorite app, you order food online, or use a smartwatch, you're experiencing human-computer interaction and UX research at work. This session, which is Designing Tomorrow's Interactions, is about understanding what HCI is, what UX research does, and how these fields shape the technology we use every day. My goal here is to show you how your engineering skills today can connect directly to this space, and how you can be part of creating technology that feels simple, human, and meaningful. Going to the next slide. So let's start with here, a simple test where, take a moment and think about your favorite app for a moment. You probably choose it because it just feels right to you, and it's intuitive, it's simple, and it anticipates what you need. That seamless feeling is not an accident. You might have selected a food delivery app, you might have selected Instagram, you might have selected Facebook, whatever your favorite app is. It's the result of a deliberate process called user experience, or UX. It's the hidden art behind the UX that separates a merely functional product from one that's truly pleasurable to use for us. So, what is user experience? Like I said, we hear about it a lot. User experience is basically the total sum of how a person feels when using a product, and it goes far beyond just a pretty interface. It also covers everything from usability, is it easy to use, to accessibility. Can everyone use it? Can someone visually impaired use it? Can someone with a hearing aid use it? And most importantly, the value. Does it actually solve a real problem? Think of it as the essential bridge between powerful technology and the human who needs to interact with it seamlessly. It's what makes a product truly work for people. We have all heard about UX design. We have a lot of colleagues and friends around that. We see and think about the jobs in UX design. But how does it differ from UX research? What is design versus UX research? They're very separate. They work together. They work in collaboration, but they are not the same thing. When someone says, I'm doing UX research, that doesn't mean they're actually designing apps. They might be researching something on user experience. Basically, within the UX umbrella, there are two key roles. UX design is the part you see, the wireframes, the buttons, the visual layouts, the prototypes. And designers are the architects who figure out how to build the solution. But before you can design anything, you have to know you are solving the right problem. That's why UX research comes in. And researchers are the detectives who basically uncover the why and why users are struggling or what they truly need, providing the evidence that guides the entire design process. Let's see at a good UX versus bad UX, a simple example that we have here. So let's make this tangible. On the left is remote. That's a classic example of bad UX. It's cluttered, it's confusing, and it's overwhelming. There are so many buttons on that. And the engineer's goal was to include every possible function, which is legit. They wanted to put all the functions that are available on that TV screen or that modem or anything that is. And on the right, you have good UX. That's an Apple remote, by the way. And it's simple, intuitive, and only includes what's essential for the user's main goal, finding and playing the content. That's the main goal. And good UX isn't about adding more features. It's about providing the right features in the clearest way possible. Are they able to use it? Are they able to complete the tasks that they are meant to complete? That's good UX. And where did this all come from? There are some academic roots and there are some foundations to this. It doesn't just come from design or it doesn't just come from product. It definitely doesn't come from something that is going on visually. It also comes behind the academic roots and the science of human factors and ergonomics. So this focus on the users isn't some new tech or trend. UX has deep, respectable roots in established engineering and scientific disciplines that have been around for decades. It's around 1980s and 1970s that UX was established, and people have been utilizing it for different products. The two main disciplines that paved the way for modern UX are human factors, which you might know as ergonomics, and human-computer interaction, or HCI. So ergonomics is nothing but an office chair, how comfortably you are able to sit on that. A car chair, a car seat, how comfortably are you able to sit on that? That is the ergonomics. And human-computer interaction, or HCI, is something that how well are you able to interact with a digital system, computers, as a human. So the interaction between human and computer. So what is human factors? Human factors is the science of designing systems to fit people. How well can people be fit in that system? Not the other way around. How well the system fits in people. We don't want to build something that is difficult to be fit inside human agendas. It started in the physical world, basically. designing airplane cockpits, for example, to be safe or factory workstations to be comfortable. But it's also about cognitive load, which is about your mental load, which is about your thinking load. How well are you able to think? If a pilot is able to fly a flight safely, they should not have cognitive load. They should not be overthinking on most of the systems they have. So it's about cognitive load and thinking about it, making sure a complex control panel or a medical device screen is clear and easy to understand. It's about engineering for human limitations to maximize safety and efficiency. You can consider, for example, the modern cars. They have so much of elements that are going around, but they are now able to put everything under one screen. They are able to put most of the things under AI, under sensors. That is simplifying the UX and human factors and ergonomics for them. What is HCI? Human computer interaction, or HCI. You can see this Venn diagram here. This is the academic field that applies those human factors principles to the digital world, basically. It formally studies the design and the use of computer technology by blending computer science, psychology, and design. HCI provides the scientific backbone for making our digital tools more usable, useful, and accessible to everyone. And when we say psychology, psychology is the basic core and the main part of human-computer interaction, because in this scientific area, we are trying to understand how human brain also works with digital systems, the mental work and the cognitive load specifically. So here's HCI in action in everyday applications. HCI isn't just a theory. It's just not about books, and it's not just about a coursework that you are learning. It basically touches almost everyday part of your daily life. Think about how you interact with Siri or Alexa, how a modern car guides you safely with alerts, or how patients manage their health group apps. And these are all examples of HCI principles at work, blending hardware, software, and human behavior. And the most important question that people might have, or engineering students might have, or people who have even with 2 engineering degrees and PhDs might have, where can you study this? So HCI or human factors or even UX research is something that you do not have to learn from one core degree or one core element. There are pathways, there are multiple pathways. The great news is that you don't need one specific degree to enter this field. Its strength comes from its interdisciplinary nature. Skills are cultivated in industrial engineering, through ergonomics, in computer science, through HCI tracks, and of course, in design programs. And even psychology provides a strong, very strong foundation by teaching a deep understanding of human behavior. Skills you are already learning. You might feel like this is a different world, that what are we talking about, psychology and something else that you haven't studied in engineering. But the core skills for UX are ones you are already developing as engineering students. Deconstructing complex problems, understanding how systems work, using data to make decisions, and the cycle of building, testing, and improving. These are the heart of both engineering and UX. You already have the foundational mindset to succeed in the field. So what is UX research? We spoke about HCI, human factors. Now let's talk about what is UX research, which is the core role behind HCI and human factors education that is getting boomed in these areas, in technology, in science, and it's basically been non-negotiable for big organizations when it comes to making a good amount of revenue from their customers. So let's zoom in on UX research. A researcher's main job is to be the voice of the user and ground the development process in reality. while engineers focus on can we build it? And business asks, should we build it? The researcher answers, do people need it? And can they use it? They use a variety of methods to provide the data and insights that prevent teams from building products based on incorrect assumptions. If there is a feature that an app wants to implement, the UX researcher comes in and says, do we need it? Should people want it? Are people asking for it? Will it make a positive impact on their user experience? Will it save their time? Will it make something easy for them? So UX research comes from across different domains right now. UX research isn't one size fits all thing. The methods remain similar, but the questions differ. In e-commerce, researchers study why people leave carts. In banking, it's about balancing security with convenience. In healthcare, it's making sure instructions are life-savingly clear. And in gaming, it's finding the sweet spot between challenge and fun and engagement. What's the UX research process? So research isn't just a single step at the beginning of a project, it's an iterative process. Research has to be done from end to end, even before the project starts, and even when the project is being conducted, and even when it's finished, when something is launched, there is post-launch research for that. It's a continuous cycle of learning, basically, and we start by discovering user needs, then explore early design ideas. Once we have a prototype, we test it to find usability flaws. Even after launch, we listen to feedback and look at that data to inform the next version. It's a constant loop that ensures the product evolves with its users. The stages basically that we have are discover, explore, test, and listen. Before the product tells us, oh, we want to put a feature in, we want to create an app, discover, why do we need that app? What problem are we trying to solve? So explore behind it. What are the options that we have that we can bring in and solve this problem? And then we test it. And then we listen to the users. Listen to this customer. We listen to this person, the human. What do they want? How can we solve their problem? There are two types of research, basically, and that's all about data, which is qualitative versus quantitative research. This is very important, I'd say, because researchers work with two main types of data. Quantitative data tells you what is happening or how many people are doing something. For example, 40% of users drop off on some page, but it doesn't tell you why. Somebody is joining Instagram Reels, a specific reel, but it doesn't tell you why. Qualitative data, on the other side, gathered from things like interviews, uncovers the why. A great researcher combines both. The numbers tell them where to look, and the stories tell them what to fix. How do we conduct these two different methods? Qualitative research is done through interviews. It's also done through surveys. Whenever you get a survey in your mail or in an app, can you rate this? Can you give us your feedback? That is basically a UX research team or UX team looking at you and asking you feedback. That's the qualitative research they're doing. They want feedback to improvise for you as a customer. Whereas quantitative research is about how many people have told us that, how many people are asking for X feature, how many people are coming back to the app again and again on daily basis, which is retention of the app. And beyond numbers, some of the best research combines qualitative and quantitative, like I just said. For example, DoorDash interviewed users to understand why orders go wrong. Things like confusing instructions for drivers. Drivers may have got an order when they picked up their food, but the instructions to deliver food were really difficult for them. And the food got delayed. Who got frustrated in this? You got frustrated because you were waiting for the food. Then validated those findings with surveys across thousands of customers. That's quantitative. that happen to thousands of customers. That mix basically gives both depth and the confidence in the results. Like, what is exactly the issue there? Okay, let's recognize the elephant in the room, AI. We've been seeing a lot about it. We all know that that is the future. Some say it might be, some say it not might be. UX research is something that definitely needs the researcher, that definitely needs the science behind it, and AI can do very, very little when it comes to UX research right now, because UX is more about understanding the human's psychology. It's also about empathizing the user. When I say empathizing the user, an AI cannot empathize you. You might ask questions to ChatGPT, like, this is what is happening with my life. It is going to keep talking to you, but an empathy comes from another human from you. So basically, there has to be a human element when we are trying to research something, when we are trying to solve that problem. Because if you're trying to solve a problem for a user, you have to understand their problem. You have to live in their problem. You have to be in their shoes and walk 2 miles. And AI brings new challenges. And it is great to support UX researchers right now. It improves productivity. It helps us design better ways. It helps us do the research in a productive way. How do you design, and the new challenges, for example, how do you design a chatbot that feels natural and not robotic? How do you make users trust AI recommendations without feeling manipulated? For example, you ask a question to ChatGPT or Google Gemini, and then you are getting some feedback, but do you trust it? How trustworthy are those? So researchers can come in there and amplify that. And how do we use AI to expand accessibility? Like smart assistants, it could be Google Home or Alexa, reading screens for visually impaired users, those people who cannot see. Can smart devices help them? And in what way? These are at the cutting edge of UX research, even at this point. So how does a day in a UX researcher's life look? A typical day in this role is very varied, because there are different things they might be doing. You might spend this morning in a strategic meeting with designers, the afternoon conducting some live interview with a user, and the end of the day analyzing the survey data. It's a dynamic blend of collaboration, deep thinking, and communication with all different stakeholders. UX researchers work with data analysts, the whole data team. They work with the product managers, the product team. They work with the business team. They also work with the designers. They go to the product team, they ask what are the problems, or give them back the solutions and recommendations. They work with the design team. They ask the design team, can we test something out that we have in recommendations? They go to the data team, and they are going to dig into millions of numbers and data to understand how can we change something, or what are we going to identify. They use the data to validate as well. And they are their own data scientists as well. And it's kind of a dynamic blend of collaboration and communication, where you yourself as a researcher act as a social scientist, a data analyst, and a storyteller all in one day. What are the tools and methods UX researchers use? There are multiple toolkits, but there is a basic understanding of how it works, like we can see on this slide. Just like an engineer's toolbox, a researcher has a toolkit of methods, and they choose the right one for the question at hand. What kind of question it is, depending on that, we go and solve that problem. We understand what methodology to use. And what is this question? So this is a research question. That's what we call it. So, for example, you have Uber taxi to take, and you're trying to take a Uber taxi, and the cab didn't arrive, or it got delayed, and then you are getting frustrated, or it took you to a wrong location. That is the research question. And what are the different methods that we can use it? You do user interviews, you can do surveys, you can use the data to understand what went wrong there, and then we have to test it multiple times. And to understand deep motivations, We use interviews to see if a design is easy to use. We run usability tests. Usability tests are something that if there is a prototype, we make the user use it in front of us. We observe them. We see what is their frustration, what is giving them the problem, what is the issue going behind it. And to get feedback from thousands of people, we use surveys. And to understand real world behavior, we conduct field studies. Field studies are something that we do in person. We will go along with users to take that Uber ride. We will go and see what that issue is. That's called in-field studies. And observing people in their natural environment, which actually helps us to empathize them more. So you are also living the problem that user is living so that you can solve it in a better way. Here is a real world example, a food delivery app. And a food delivery app wanted a healthy filter. When you are trying to order food, you see Indian, Chinese, and you might see a filter, healthy. They wanted to add a filter called healthy. Instead of just guessing what that meant, research was conducted. Interviews revealed that healthy meant many different things, like vegan or high protein. A prototype was then tested to fix confusing icons before launch. This is how research prevents a company from building the wrong thing and helps them build the right thing correctly. HCI and safety critical systems. Let's get a little bit behind what HCI and safety critical systems are, what more HCI is. Not all UX is about convenience. It is not all about convenience. In safety critical industries like aviation, automotive, and healthcare, usability literally saves lives. A poorly designed cockpit of an aeroplane, the layout can cause pilot errors. A confusing medical pump interface can risk patients. That's why HCI and human factors engineers are indispensable in these domains. What are the career paths? There are multiple career paths that come from HCI and human factors, both. For example, Apple does provide roles into their research, which are called human factors engineers. It just names UX researchers as human factors engineers because their focus is on solving big problems and not just doing a showable design. And the career paths. This skill set opens up a wide range of career paths. You can be a dedicated UX researcher, or if you like hardware, a human factors engineer. The skills are also essential for interaction designers who create the product flow, and they give a massive advantage to product managers, the people who decide what gets built. And beyond tech, let's talk how far are we going beyond tech with HCI, human factors, and UX research. Where else does it matter? UX and HCI aren't limited to IT or big tech. They are critical in government services, where bad design can mean people can't access benefits. For example, we see so many government websites today that you try to submit a form, you try to go find a solution, and you are frustrated. There are thousands of pages, the icons are bad, the font is worst. I do not want to point out a certain website because that happens in all countries today. And they are in education, ensuring online tools are effective. They are in nonprofits working globally, even in something as everyday as a door handle or ATM. Good design prevents frustration and errors. So the future, again, coming back to AI and UX, looking ahead, UX is becoming even more critical with the rise of AI. The big questions in tech are no longer just, can we build it? But how do we make AI trustworthy? As the AI competition is growing, everyone is looking about how can we make it trustworthy? Because as many as upsides there are for AI, there are that many downsides. because there are age categories. There are children who are going to use these AI products. There are elderly who are going to use these AI products. Are those recommendations trustworthy? Are they not going to create errors, any use errors? Are they not going to create any risk factors? And these are governmentally mandated in most countries that they should not cause use errors or any risk factors. Also, and how do we design a chatbot that's helpful, not frustrating? UX researchers at the forefront of answering these questions and ensuring our future with AI remains human-centered. One of the other core questions, how to get started? After seeing all this, you might get excited about, okay, this looks interesting because this goes beyond the coding. This goes beyond the design. You can start developing these skills today, actually. Begin to notice the good and bad design in everything around you, which you have been doing for a while, from doors to websites. Read the classic book, The Design of Everyday Things by Don Norman. But most importantly, cultivate your curiosity and empathy. The number one skill in this field is a genuine desire to understand how other people see the world. You have to look at your parents, you have to see elderly, you have to see the kids around you and understand how are they looking at this digital product. You might just sometime complain, my mother does not understand how to use a smartphone. Well, she did not come from there. How can we make the design better so that she could understand that one? Here is the future, engineers as experience makers. Here's the big idea I want to leave you with. We are almost at the end. Before we start going to the QA, where's the big idea I want to leave you with is, as engineers, you are not just building code or circuits. You are shaping human experiences now. The future belongs to those who can bridge this technical power with human empathy. You have to understand what human empathy there is. You have to also understand how can you bridge that along with the technical power that you might have. And that's what makes a product, an app, a website, not just functional, but unforgettable. What are the key takeaways from this? I'd say the thing, if you remember just a few things from today, let it be these. UX is about how technology makes people feel. I repeat that. UX is about how technology makes people feel. Research is how we find the truth to guide our designs. And your engineering background is an incredible asset for this career. And finally, you can start on this path right now. To build the future, we have to understand the human side of technology, how the technology works, and how humans are interacting with that technology and how it can be done better. There are multiple ways. People do usability tests, user tests, and surveys, but people also go and find solutions easily. They can just get on the field. If you see a problem in an app or a website, you make a recommendation. This is the feature you should add. You did a UX research yourself right there. So you have started doing that already. I'll go to the Q&A part. Let me see. Do we have any questions? Okay, I see a question that mentions, so UX research basically questions UX design. That's a good question. UX research doesn't question UX design. UX research blends with UX design. It improvises the UX design. You can say it questions UX design at times, but yeah, it questions bad UX design for sure. UX research basically is something that you have to test that design for. UX research is something that you have to see if that design is making an impact. Is it able to do what it's supposed to do? What are the skills of UX researchers? Skills of UX researchers. UX researchers are something that come with ton of skills. The most important skills, I would say, I'll name that again. It's empathy, because product managers, designers, or engineers are someone who are working in the backend. They are working on the product. But UX researchers are someone who are working in forefront while talking to customers, while listening to users. So that is very important for them to have empathy, to understand what problems are they solving. Another skill set is looking at data. How well can you visualize data? If you see some graph today, you should be able to understand it in a way that you should be able to utilize it in some sort of recommendation or understanding or a finding. So how well can you understand the data that you are looking at? How well can you ask questions? That's one of the important skills that UX researchers could have. Asking why. If you see something, if you just saw a remote example that I gave you was a cluttered remote and an Apple remote, your mind has to ask, but why? Why are we trying to solve? Why are we doing this? If anyone gives you a business idea, your question has to be why? What problem are we solving? That is the UX researcher. Is there a roadmap for learning this? Yeah, there is a roadmap. Basically, like I said, I myself, I'm coming from mechanical engineering background as bachelors. Most of us know that these people go through different areas, and because they kind of try to see themselves as problem solvers in most areas, and most engineers too. So you can be coming from any engineering background, but the pathway looks simple. If you are from science or psychology or industrial, you have to look into solving problems. And the pathway basically starts at HCI or human factors or psychology. There are multiple institutions that are providing HCI courses, even in India. Now they have started. And is UX research important there, by the way, coming back to that? Yes, HCI is growing in India because UX research is growing in India. UX research is very important there because the digitalization that has happened among the past decade is very important. There are people who are using digital apps from morning to night. All day along, they're using the digital apps, and the problems they are trying to solve are through smartphones or the websites. And that's where UX sits within that. The pathway for HCI, I would say some coursework is also helpful, and some sort of internships. The coursework I would recommend also is NNG. It's called Nielsen Norman Group, NNG. And they provide basic certification, but it's very valuable. They can provide basic to foundational to very discoverable, like PhD level of certification. You can also get into master's programs into HCI anywhere in India and abroad as well. So the idea was taken from ergonomics for UX. That's kind of true because digital systems and devices arrived since Apple brought their first computer, and Apple has always blended that. Apple is known as a company that tries to solve problems, but it does not want to give you a most intuitive experience. It is going to solve problems in a way that are actually the problems of the customer. And they focus on that, bringing new products yearly. They try to solve the basic problems, and they do not want to give you the fancy, huge camera. They do not want to give a lot of apps and 100 colors. They want to keep it minimal. Minimal is something that is helping you to complete the tasks. So yeah, I would say human factors is important because there would be more cognitive load. If there are 100 colors and 20 elements on your screen, you are not going to like it. You are going to get troubled by that. I see those are the only questions right now. Same question. Sorry, there's a last question. Are there different roadmaps for HCI and UX? There are multiple different backgrounds for UX, but there for HCI, human factors could be one of the newest thing, because since AI is emerging, HCI can also help with AI robotics, human computer interaction. Researchers or graduates also tend to work in robotic areas like Tesla's Optimus AI robot. HCI people also go work there if their background is coming from robotics or deep computer science. Yeah, I think those are the questions. It was really, I was glad to give this insightful sessions. Please let me know if you do have any other questions.
Looks like so I have covered all the questions, sir.
Okay.
Uh, Thank you so much, sir, for your valuable talk, for sharing your knowledge, experience with us. Your session has
Absolutely.
given our participants fresh ideas on how research and user experience can shape better projects and solutions. We sincerely appreciate the time and effort you have taken to share your expertise with us. Thank you so much, sir. A special thank.
Absolutely. I'm glad to.
Yes, sir.
I'm glad to be here and help those in need. So yeah, absolutely. Thanks for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. And also I would like to thank our Pro Vice Chancellor, Dr. Sudip Thepade, sir, for his guidance and constant encouragement. Our Dean, Dr. Patil, sir, for his support and vision. Our HODs, Dr. Sagar Pandey, sir, and Dr. Swati Shirke, ma'am, for his active involvement throughout the series. And all the guest speakers across these 5 days who enriched us with practical knowledge. And a special thank you to Parth sir, Tanuja ma'am, Pandey sir, Ameya Behre for coordinating and helping in making this session run so well. And also I would like to thank our faculties, students and participants for making this bootcamp a true success. With this, we formally bring the webinar series on Idea to Deployment AI Project Bootcamp to a close. The series may end today, but the learning and inspiration will continue with us in our future journeys. Thank you all once again and wishing you a very best ahead. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you.
Before we conclude, please note a few important points, students. Kindly fill out the feedback form after the session. Don't forget to complete the quiz test. Once you have completed both, you will receive your e-certificates. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a good day.